Hey folks, this is my third and last vlog of the day. This is Gravity Falls episode 5, The Inconveniencing, which is a cute title. Yeah, this was a pretty good one. Basically had two things going on in it. You had Dipper's crush on Wendy, and wanting to kind of, make himself, kind of impress the older kids and make himself seem like he fits in with the older kids because he thinks, he is under the impression that he has a chance. Which Wendy very clearly sees Dipper and Mabel, as if she's kind of their big sister, leading them into a little bit of mischief, but just generally kind of having fun with how they look up to her. So that's a crush that's headed toward disaster. But, it's also a fairly normal part of growing up. Lots of little boys develop a crush on an older girl. And nothing ever happens, nothing ever comes of it. It comes and goes, and eventually they get into more age-appropriate things. So it's not a big deal. It'll be interesting to see kind of where the show goes with it going on from here. But, if they revisit it at all. But mostly I think it's just kind of, Dipper's, at that age where he's it's kind of what this episode is exploring. He simultaneously wants to be grown up and he wants to stay a kid. Because, that's kind of what adolescence is this state where you want the respect of an adult, you want the freedom of being an adult, but at the same time that's utterly terrifying and you want to crawl back into the safety of being a kid. And that's exactly where Dipper is, and that's exactly what this episode is about, where he wants to be an adult, a big kid, one of the teenagers, and so he goes and hangs out with them, and Mabel does as well, of course. But Mabel is perfectly content to still be a kid, as we see with her devouring candy and having candy-induced hallucinations, which were a lot of fun. But she's perfectly content to stay a kid. It's Dipper, in this episode at least, who's in the rush to grow up. And yet, safety is found in being a kid. In doing the Lammy dance, he's able to save everyone from the evil ghosts, because that, of course, is where, as a kid, adults are assuming everything is going the way it's supposed to. Obviously, in real life, it doesn't always work out this way. But the way it's supposed to work is, as a kid, adults are protective of you, they're nice to you, they're kind to you, they help you, they guide you. As an adult, you're expected to take care of things on your own. And in between, as a teenager, basically nobody likes you. Adults tend not to be fans of teenagers because teenagers tend to be really obnoxious toward adults. And everyone else, honestly. Though those rap lyrics were very funny. And the overreacting old couple in response to the rap lyrics was great. And just the notion of evil ghosts that hate teenagers is perfect, because what's 90% of horror movies is monsters going after teenagers. Picking them off one by one, just like in this. But yeah, that was, so kind of the crush and the haunted house weaved into each other very well in that way. Because they were both ultimately about teenagers as seen by kids versus teenagers as seen by adults, and about wanting to be a teenager but also wanting to be a little kid, and being torn between those two things. So, well done in that respect. Also, the girl getting sucked into the security camera was legit creepy. The floating brain in the ice, legit creepy. You know, the arrows in the DDR machine, by that point, it was just getting silly. And the guy becoming a hot dog was... I laughed at that. That was just funny. But those first couple of ghost actions were pretty cool. Like I said, legit creepy. And yeah, I think the only other thing going on in this episode was the running gag of Stan getting more and more into the, you know, black and white old Victorian or Edwardian or whatever it was, you know, high society drama. Seemed to have a strong soap opera element to it as well. You know, kind of a parody Jane Austen-ish thing. And seeing him get like more and more sucked into it was, you know, funny and cute. Other than that, yeah, this was basically a Dipper episode. This was about him caught in between being a teenager and being a kid. And in the end, it was choosing to be a kid that got him the respect of the other teens. Or really the respect of the one he wanted, which was Wendy. And she covered for him so that he wouldn't be humiliated. I like her. I hope we get more of her. I hope we get, like, some insight into her and what makes her tick. Because right now, she's just, you know, the kind of slacker, cool, older teenage girl. Pretty generic. And, like, her biggest part so far has been as someone for Dipper to have a crush on. It'd be nice to have more. She's, you know, got potential as an appealing character. And would be fun to explore. But, you know, only 5 episodes in, so there's plenty of time for that to happen. I just hope that we do get that exploration, and she doesn't kind of just become, you know, the thing I'm thinking of is Peanuts, you know, the red-haired girl who is never actually seen and exists solely as an object for Charlie Brown to have a crush on. That's exactly what I don't want her to end up being. I want her to be kind of like, you know, a big sister to them. I feel like that would be a fun character that would add, you know, interesting potential to explore new things. Or maybe she barely ever shows up again. I don't know. The one thing I don't want is for her to just be the crush object, because that's boring and a waste of a good character. But I don't think... I'm hoping they don't do that. I don't think they're going to do that. So far, this series has been pretty good about going, you know, setting up a fairly predictable plotline and then going off in a new direction with it, which I always appreciate. Yeah. Other than that, just a good episode with a haunting. Which we've now had, like, weird old dudes with submarines. We've had psychic people, telekinetic amulets. We've had gnomes. It'll be interesting to see what other... And now ghosts. It'll be interesting to see... Well, I guess we've had... Oh yeah, and the wax sculpture monster things. I forget what those were. Were those ghosts? Or were they just evil wax sculptures? I think they were just evil wax. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see, you know, as we go on, what other monsters it introduces. Also, I remain aware that this series supposedly has, like, a long-running plot of some sort. We haven't really seen much of that. I guess we've had that Gideon owns another book, and that Stan is somehow connected with the secret passages in which Dipper found the book, which might be connected to why Stan and Gideon's families are such enemies. I don't know. Point is, it's been very sparing so far with clues towards that stuff, and I actually like that. I like having some time to settle into the characters and explore them a bit and their relationships and have some wacky fun and weird monsters, because, you know, these kinds of conspiracy plots usually aren't as good as the wackiness that surrounds them. You know, like, excuse me, losing my voice, starting to lose my voice, I think. But like, The X-Files. The endless alien conspiracy BS was really boring. It was the weird standalone episodes that were actually sometimes good. So hopefully we get lots of that with this show, and just a little bit of the conspiracy stuff. Or they do an unusually good job with the conspiracy stuff. That's also a possibility. We'll see. Anyway, good episode. I enjoyed it again, and look forward to whatever I end up watching next, which I guess would be episode 6, but whatever that ends up being. Thanks all for watching, and talk to you soon.